Thank you, Mr. Matesic, and good evening to all of you. I'm going to echo everyone else and say that this is truly an exciting evening for us when we get to welcome all of you onto our campus and, eventually a new group of students. As Mr. Matesic said, I work in the area of academics, and I have had exchanges with some of you already, which is wonderful. To this evening, I'd like to spend just a few minutes helping you navigate freshman year, as Mr. Matesic said, specifically in the area of your son's courses, and the two processes that are involved, which are course selection and course placement. I thought to start this out, we might want to just take a look at the freshman requirements so that it's not confusing for you, and then kind of parse that out a little bit. So all of our freshmen are required to take 7 classes, and they have a period for lunch, so that's our 8-period day. They take English 1, they take Intro to Catholicism, biology, and here's that mathematical web that Mr. Shikatano referred to. They can take algebra, geometry, algebra 2, that's 1 class, or algebra 2 trig, and we'll get to why there are so many options there in a minute. For social studies, pre-modern world history or AP human geography. Then foreign language, Latin or Spanish. And there's an elective, and those are their 7 in-school classes. Health is listed because it's a requirement, but they don't take it here at school. That's actually a remote course, and we'll talk about that one as well. So I told you the process is broken down into really 2 areas: course selection and course placement. Course selection is when your son, and with your help, selects his courses, and course placement is when the department chairs and the freshman teachers place him into his classes. We're going to start with course selection, and the 2 areas where he will, and with your help, make choices are in his foreign language and in his elective. So I'm sure you've already seen, or you will see, that there's a form up in your Blackbaud portal called the course selection form. This is where he will register those selections for foreign language and for his elective. For foreign language, as I said, Latin and Spanish. Latin is offered at the honors level only. Doesn't mean we'll keep your son out of it. It's just kind of an alert to you that this will be a more rigorous course, and you might want to have a discussion with him about the higher standards for that particular course. Then Spanish. Foreign language has a 3-year requirement, regardless of where your son will start. They will take the foreign language that they choose all the way through their junior year. And that's a great thing. It kind of sets our students apart in the college admission process. I mean, this is just 1 plus to it. From many schools, many students where there's only a 2-year requirement. And lots of times our boys will go on to a 4th year as well, which shows strength of schedule for them. The other selection that they make is in terms of their elective. And for those of you who have sons who have gone through Jesuit already, you may notice, if he went through prior to last year, that speech is not listed, and that was forever and ever and ever, and I've been here a long time. The traditional freshman elective, the PE with speech. Last year, we mandated a fine arts course, and it has gone wonderfully well. When I look at the boys where they started and where they are now, it's amazing. I think some of them discovered things about themselves that they didn't know. If you look at these choices, the first 3 are semester fine arts courses. So they will take it with PE. And they will have just one semester of the Intro to Band, the Intro to Choir, or the Introduction to Theater. And that could be first or second semester. It's different for the boys. Some will take it first and some will get it second. The rest of the electives are all year-long electives. So no PE, they'll take this elective for their entire freshman year. Theater beginning band, so if your son would like a full year of band, but has very little experience or maybe even no experience in it, this is the course for him. And I guarantee you'll have a great time. We didn't have this course last year. We just had the semester Intro to Band. And as we got close to the next semester, boys were asking if they could remain in it. And so that's the reason we opened that up this year. Theater production is similar. No experience necessary, just an opportunity to experience, mask. And that's all parts of theater. Also, the backstage crew and so forth. Intermediate and advanced chorus, and we will take beginners in that course too if your son wants a full year of chorus, choir. Intermediate and advanced band, percussion ensemble, guitar ensemble, and chamber orchestra. They all have asterisks next to them because the music teachers would like an opportunity to at least have a discussion with your sons, maybe audition them so they can be properly placed within our music program. Okay, those are the selections. I want to move into the course placement. So again, course placement is when the department heads will place your sons. When it comes to course placement, that really is the rigor of the course. We have 3 levels of rigor within our school. We have our college preparatory, college prep or CP, which is the standard level. Then we have an honors level, which increases the rigor, and then advanced placement or AP, which is even more rigorous. Most of those freshman requirements that I talked to you, that I showed you in that first slide, will have 2 levels of rigor. So our English and our science, math, and foreign language all have a college prep and an honors level to them. Social studies, kind of the odd man out. We have a college prep level and we have an AP level. And then Intro to Theology, all of our theology courses are offered at that standard college prep level and the electives as well. These course levels are very important to us. And we being the department heads and the freshman teachers, a lot of time determining where students should be placed within our curriculum. We do that because we want your sons to be successful. We want them to have the foundation and the skill level so that they can excel in the course that we placed them in. We use the HSPT scores as a primary source, mainly because that's the one metric that all of our students will have in common. The middle schools vary a lot in rigor in their curriculum, and this allows us a tried and true metric that goes back, decades, where we can make comparisons to the score and how the student did within the program at the various levels. Every department has a range and scores that they look at, and I'm happy to share them with you if you have any questions. Sometimes they tweak them. They look at students who did not do as well in their program. They see if there are any red flags that we're missing. But we take that process very seriously. You'll see them in my conference room with folders, looking through them, making sure we've got students as properly placed as we can. We miss it sometimes, and in December, we will take a look at our placements, we'll take a look at our student scores on the freshman level, and we'll adjust where necessary. Students will be bumped up to the honors if we see that we need to challenge them at a higher level. At the end of every school year, we are doing the same thing. At the end of a freshman year, we're looking at what level students should be in their sophomore year. End of sophomore year, we're looking on to junior year. Of course, at those points, we're looking at how they did in our curriculum. Now we have data within our own curriculum. Primary is the PSAT, but we also look at the middle school transcripts, 7th and 8th grade standardized testing, and the teachers' recommendations. The teachers and the department heads will start this process in April, and it's a totally transparent process. You will be able to see where your son is being placed in your Blackbaud portal. I'll send you instructions. I'll even alert you to the fact that the department heads have started placing students, and you will have their email if you want to reach out to them and get more information, and we obviously welcome that. I welcome that. Mr. Shikatano referred to the fact that this is a partnership, and that's what we want. We want to work with you to make sure that your son is challenged, but not defeated in the classes that he's in, and we want to hear your input. The other part to our course placement process is our mastery tests. So this is different. Mastery tests are designed for students who have already taken a high school course in middle school and would like to be able to bypass it. And so we offer a test where they can show us basically what did they learn in that course. Again, never with the intention of holding them back, but to make sure that they have the proper foundation to be able to really thrive in the courses we put them in. Keeping in mind they're going to be in with our sophomores who have had our curriculum. We want them to be on a level playing field with them. If your son has not taken these courses, if he didn't take geometry, he shouldn't be sitting for the geometry mastery test. If he didn't take algebra in middle school, he shouldn't be sitting for that particular test. This is our schedule of testing. The last weekend of April and the first weekend of May, that Saturday is when we typically test. So this year it's April 27th and May 4th. The foreign languages are first on both of those days, so you can choose one or the other. They are an hour maximum time that we allow the students, and they should be able to finish in an hour. Many finish before, 8:30 to 9:30. Then if they would like to take the math, there's a 15-minute break, and the math, which is algebra on the first weekend, will start at 9:45, and that's 90 minutes. Algebra is offered both weekends. It tends to be the more popular one. Geometry is only offered on the second weekend. We don't have as many students that have had geometry in middle school. If you run into trouble with this schedule, please reach out to me. Typically, I can make arrangements for your son to come in if you have pressing arrangements on either of those days already. Okay. This is where the scores fall in terms of being able to move on to that sophomore course. If your son scores an 80 or higher in Spanish, then he'll be placed for his sophomore year into Spanish, for his freshman year rather, into Spanish 2 Honors, which is the sophomore course. Similar with Latin. The score there is a 70. Algebra 1, there are 2 different placements. If your son scores above an 80 or above, we have that hybrid course, Geometry Algebra 2. The Geometry Algebra 2 is a more challenging course because the Algebra 2 is one of the semesters and the Geometry is the other, so it's a little more accelerated. He takes 2 math courses in 1 year. You can always turn down a placement. If you think that's not the proper place for your son, you can shoot me an email and say you'd prefer him to be in the Geometry Honors, which is fine. And then Geometry, if he takes the Geometry and passes, and he passed the Algebra, then he is moving into our junior level course, which is Algebra 2 and Trig. If he doesn't pass the algebra but passes the geometry, which is actually kind of common for those who've taken geometry, geometry is a smaller amount of information, so the students tend to do better on that, plus it's fresh because they're usually taking it as 8th graders. If he passes the geometry but not the algebra, his sequence of math courses would be Algebra 1 honors, and then he'd move right into Algebra 2. We would not make him take the geometry over again, so he would be accelerated and move right from Algebra 1 into the Algebra 2 into the junior year course. If your son does not do as well as you thought he would on these courses, I hope you don't look at that as a wasted middle school year. It's definitely not. That is building a foundation, and maybe he takes that algebra over again, he's getting a lot more out of that course. And Algebra 1, I'm a science teacher, taught chemistry for many, many years, is a foundational course not only for Algebra 2, obviously, but also pre-calculus and calculus and chemistry and physics. So it's not uncommon for a student to have to take Algebra 1 over again. And it's not that we want to punish him, we want him well prepared to thrive within our curriculum. There are many ways throughout the course of the years that he's here that he can still accelerate if he started in Algebra 1. We offer geometry over the summer. We also offer pre-calc over the summer. So he can make up that year and easily make his way to calculus or whatever the end goal was for him in math. And don't forget, we have that hybrid course, Geometry Algebra 2, which covers 2 years of math in the 1 year. And so repeating algebra makes him just a much stronger student if he should need it, and some students won't need it. They will have covered everything that they need and be at the same level as our sophomores. And I'm happy to talk about that more with you if you have any questions about that. All right, so let me summarize this. The teacher in me. So the whole course selection, course placement process, so you're not confused, and if you are, please reach out to me. Students select their elective in foreign language, and that's the form that's up in your Blackbaud portal right now. Department chairs, along with the freshman teachers who have a lot of experience with that course in the age group, place your son into the appropriate levels. So whether that is the college prep level, the honors, or the AP, and that's in biology, English, Spanish, Latin, and math. In social studies, still based on their scores, they're placing them either into the pre-modern world history or the AP Human Geography. If your son doesn't get a chance to take the AP Human Geography, because I know you've all heard how wonderful that course is and that teacher's amazing, we offer them another chance to take that course. And I can talk to you about that too if that should happen. And then finally, students may opt to take the mastery test, entirely up to you and them. I would encourage, if he has had the course and you feel pretty confident about the course, parents just know if it went well or not, then I would encourage him to take it so that he's not bored during his freshman year, but so he is being challenged, and we can appropriately challenge him if we have those scores. Okay, so that's a summary of what I've talked about, and hopefully you are following that, and that's crystal clear to you. And again, if not, you know how to find me, email, phone, either one. And I'm here through the summer too, so there's plenty of time once these courses start getting posted. Okay, I mentioned the health course, so I do want to go back to that just to kind of give you a heads up. That health course is a requirement for freshmen. It's offered online through a Rupe Virtual Learning Institute. We call it AVLI. You'll hear that mentioned multiple times in these 4 years. I will email you a link to register. You'll register your son if you would like him to take it over the summer. And that, that would be my suggestion to you. Get it over with during the summer. It's an asynchronous course, which means he reads a little, he takes a little quiz, and he continues to work through those modules. From what I hear, it's pretty painless, and they can kind of knock it out over the summer with very little difficulty. They have all the way till the end of the first week of August to complete it. It's a pass-fail grade, so you may not want to tell them this. That's entirely up to you. It does not influence his GPA in any way. All that will show on his transcript is pass. We make them pass before they leave. There will be no failing because we make them pass, even if we have to sit down next to them and get them to finish it. So it won't be incorporated into his GPA, but he does have to get a 70 for that to consider passing, and he may take it multiple times. Not many do that, but it has happened. Okay, so you'll get that information towards the end of March. Summer enrichment is the final area that I just wanted to mention to you. If your son has been enrolled in summer enrichment, and we enroll them, so there's nothing to do on your part. If your son has been enrolled in summer enrichment, you received that information as part of your acceptance letter. It would have said it's contingent upon summer enrichment. That is in no way, shape, or form a punishment. I have yet to find a student who didn't love summer enrichment, to be honest with you. We choose some of our finest teachers who are very charismatic. They do a great job with the boy. Actually, they've all either been a department head or are currently a department head. They fill in any gaps that we may have recognized in the HSPT score so that your son starts the year, running with no issues. They're actually will have a little bit more knowledge than the average person coming into Jesuit because they will have experienced the iPad. All our policies and procedures are pretty standard. They'll get used to using it for homework and notes and taking notes and the organization of it. Along with that is Canvas, which some of you may be familiar with. They'll get used to how we set up our Canvas. And our teachers, they're standardized, so every course pretty much looks the same. And so there will be no confusion for him in those areas when he starts school in August. All right, we offer 3 classes in summer enrichment, 3 separate classes. Your son may be in one, he may be in all 3. That's English, math, and then reading. They go over the summer reading books and their study skills in that as well. Just a little bit about the schedule. It starts on June 10th, ends July 12th, so it's 5 weeks. If your son is in one course, whatever it is, English, reading, or the math, then he'll be in school from 8:15 to 9:45. We offer all 3 classes in that first period. If he's in 2 courses, he'll go till 11:30. And then if he's in 3, he'll have a lunch in between, and then he will go till 1:30. If that's a schedule you need to shift around a little bit, maybe he's in some of those activities that Mr. Shikatano mentioned, and you'd like him to be a little closer to the afternoon, not start at 8, have nothing to do until those activities start, he can be placed in a different period as long as there's room. Okay? So just so that you're a little familiar with the summer enrichment, and again, questions on that, please let me know. So I hope that wasn't too much, your crash course in freshman year. Thank you for all being here, and I look forward to this partnership, and I look forward to meeting your sons. Thank you so much.